Get in on the secret. September is one of the best times to visit the Boardwalk Plaza Hotel in Rehoboth Beach. The weather is grand, and just steps from the sand, you can relax and experience the convenience of their oceanfront location right on the Rehoboth Beach Boardwalk. Enjoy Victoria's Restaurant, the charming Plaza Pub and room service. Visit boardwalkplaza.com and book your perfect getaway today, or call 800-33-BEACH for fast, friendly assistance. Thanks to the Boardwalk Plaza for being the Bridge Podcast Network sponsor.
Why do Christians have testimonies? Why does this topic sound familiar? Find out on this week's episode of Why Do Christians? Hey, welcome to the show. My name's Mark Dickey, and this is a rerun, Burt. It's a rerun.
We are in Groundhog Day. That's what's happening. We replay all of it.
Here's the deal. We are working on something special for you, and we wanted to bring some of our older episodes. Actually, Josh hasn't listened to any of the old episodes, and that's why we're really doing this.
I was in every single one. Just really quiet.
Like a ninja. Waiting to strike.
Fly on the wall.
That's right.
No, but this episode was very early on when we started the podcast.
This is before Josh joined up with us.
Yes.
Okay.
This is Why Do Christians Have Testimonies? And that was when you and I shared our testimonies.
Man, okay.
Pretty cool. So, Josh, do you know Burt and I's testimony?
Yes.
No, you don't.
Oh, I don't.
Roll the tape. Welcome to the show. I'm Mark Dickey. I host the afternoon show on a radio station called The Bridge. My co-host on this podcast is the one and only Burt Miller. Actually, there's probably a lot of Burt Millers. But
there are. Oh, dude. Have I ever told you one time? Because I thought about making a blog, and so I went to buy my name as a web domain, and it was like a graphic designer in New York.
Oh.
The other Burt Millers are doing quite well for themselves, as best I can tell.
There are other Mark Dickeys, and hey, you ruined my flow.
I'm sorry.
My co-host is not the one and only Burt Miller,
the one of several.
Lead pastor at Solid Ground Church in Lewis, Delaware. Burt, how are you today?
Mark Sebastian Dickey, I'm doing great. Just great.
Under the sea.
That's right.
I should know. I guess there's Johann Sebastian Bach.
Yeah, I wasn't going for that one. You were right. The animated crab is what
straight.
I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
He's contributed more to my life, I think, than Bach. I've never taken an inventory of it, but I'm willing to bet that Sebastian the King Crab has blessed me in ways that Bach hasn't. What are we talking about? I'm sorry.
I'll be Bach.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah.
No, so we've done so many episodes already, and I thought it would be cool if we just took a moment and kind of dived into who you and I are.
Yeah.
Because there have been so many times I've been, whether it's listening to a podcast or reading a blog, and you go, wow, this person has great stuff to say, but who are they? You know, like...
Yeah.
The internet is so interesting in that I can get a deep dive into someone's life, but not actually know who they are.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I thought if we ask the question, why do Christians in every episode, what makes Burt say why?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So I want to talk about, how you came to be a Christian, maybe what drew you into ministry. But first, I need to know, and I'll ask you these questions, and you can ask me the same questions back, or maybe you've got different questions.
I'll hold up a mirror, and I'll bounce them right back to you.
Perfect. All right, Burt.
Yeah.
What is your favorite fiction book?
Oh, you know what? I'm on a Tolkien kick right now, and I'm really enjoying them. So if I had to say, it would probably be Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring.
All right. All right. I will probably, if I'm the mirror, my actual answer would probably be The Hobbit.
Hey, okay.
Specifically, and that's why you and I are friends.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. When we're not on the mic, we speak to each other in Elvish.
Yeah.
So that...
Nemo.
I wish you guys could see the way that Mark's lips moved when he spoke Elvish. It was like, I don't know. I don't mean this to be insulting. It's just I think it's just the language, like the way that it requires movement. It looks like, you ever see those old videos of like Mr. Ed where they'd put peanut butter on the horse's lips and like the lips would kind of flip around. Like that's just new. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I'm like, all right, we're talking about why do Christians, and then I immediately went into something that's like speaking in tongues.
Okay.
And I'm like, I wonder if somebody
haven't done that,
would
right?
Immediately been turned off.
Has speaking in tongues been an episode? I don't think
we haven't done an episode about that. Maybe we should.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
But no, I wasn't speaking in tongues. That was just a funny imitation of something.
Right. It was Elvish. It was Elvish.
Movie.
Yeah.
No, I just went Nemo, Nemo, Nemo.
That's
Nemo.
not Elvish?
That's just what she sounds like in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But no, The Hobbit's like my rainy day book. If I'm good, I can read it in a whole day. One of the greatest days of my life. It was just storming outside. I didn't have kids yet, and I just read The Hobbit.
That's nice, dude. That's nice.
There was stew, and it was great.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Let's see. Do you have a question for me?
Favorite vacation spot that you've ever been to on the earth?
So this is I've kind of had to show my wife the way of vacationing. Her family always...
Wait. Come with me, young one. I will show you the ways of vacationing.
No, her family would go to Myrtle Beach every single year.
Okay.
My parents were like, we are never going to the same place like twice.
Oh.
Very, like, there are obviously people like that. But,
Yeah.
But so we would go to the Grand Canyon, to Maine, to Disney. We went to Disney once.
Okay.
But yeah, we would go all over the place. And I would probably say my favorite one today it's Maine.
Really?
Just we spent all this time out fishing, and there were flies everywhere. I didn't like that.
Okay.
But my dad took us. I learned all about the tides.
Okay.
I was in elementary school, and we got these metal buckets, and the tide would go out.
Yeah.
And my dad taught my brother and I how to go out barefoot, like in the muck, and look for bubbles popping up.
Looking for mussels?
And there were mussels and oysters, and we would just fill the buckets up. And it was probably stinkier than I remember, but I very fondly look back on that vacation specifically.
Okay.
And of course, I went to Disney, and Disney was awesome, but like that's today, that's the one that's going to take the cake.
That's your thing.
How about you?
Dude, so, okay. You say that, and I'm like, man, I'm wired completely the opposite. We want to go to a different place each time to see the world. I'm like, I'm instantly stressed by the notion of that. I'm like, I won't know where my restaurants are. I don't know the proper exits to take. Will I know where the restrooms are in the place that I go to? So like, I can appreciate the novelty of it. I'm just wired completely differently. I'm very much a creature of habit. So we're in Orlando at least once, maybe twice a year. My favorite thing to do, like favorite vacation spot, I love Disney World, but you know what, actually, the Disney cruise, when we get to do that, I've done that a handful of times in my life. Yeah. I mean, like that's not an every year thing, but they have this private island that I love in the Bahamas. That's, man, my happy place. If I could live there, I probably wouldn't, but I love it there. I don't know. It's weird as that sounds.
I've never been on a cruise.
Well,
and so for you to say, I like to go to this, my favorite vacation spot is this private island.
Yeah.
It just sounds so
swanky, right? Yeah. That is not, to look at me with my shirt that I bought at Walmart, you would know that's not very much, who I am, but like, no, like when, we'll save up, and that's, dude, I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. My last question for you, because we need to get into the important stuff.
Sure.
But you are getting to know me, and I'm getting to know
great.
you.
We've never spoken off mic before. So this is good.
Never. Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask you your favorite meal of all time.
No.
But also, what meal do you consume more than any other?
Oh, dude, I don't.
Like, what is your everyday meal, and then what is your special day meal? That's probably a better way to say it.
Yeah, because like the best meal I've ever had, it was once in my life. I don't even know how to. I couldn't. I don't know. Wait, rephrase that. Can you hear that question again?
Yeah. What is your everyday meal? Maybe you have it possibly a couple times a week.
Okay.
And then what is like if it's a special day, what's for dinner?
Special. Okay. Why don't you tell them yours first, Mark?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
My everyday meal, I am one of those people who eats the same lunch every single day.
Okay.
And
what is it?
It was a turkey sandwich with an apple, and then I had turkey for like 3 years straight.
Okay.
And now I can't stand the taste of turkey whatsoever. So now it's a roast beef sandwich.
Okay.
With an apple.
Okay.
And it used to be 2 apples, and then I became diabetic, and I had to cut back on a little bit of the sweets.
Wait, do apples count as sweets?
Fruit is just like pure sugar.
No.
Yeah.
Man.
I know. I cried the day I was diagnosed. I cried about it. I remember calling my wife, and I was
don't blame you.
I was like, babe, I'm tearing up remembering the moment actually now when I'm saying it. But like,
it's basically anything that I love could hurt me.
Basically, yeah. That's kind of how it went.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, so what is your special?
My special one is probably always steak with some sort of cooked vegetable and mashed potatoes.
Okay.
That's just
okay.
And believe it or not, besides the mashed potatoes, that's less carbs than my regular lunch. It's better. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a sucker for Chick-fil-A. There's something about like a fried chicken sandwich I just thoroughly enjoy. Special meal. Steaks are pretty delicious. Yeah, get like a really good one.
Well, no, you like to smoke meat.
I do, but that's, to me, that's not a special meal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's a hobby of mine for sure. But like, yeah, I mean brisket's really good. But no, like, if I get the chance to go to like a Brazilian steakhouse or something like that, where they have the little card where have you ever been to a Brazilian steakhouse?
I don't think
they do
so.
a thing where like they put a little coaster on your like in front of your or in front of you at the table, right? One side is red, one side is green. So you flip it to green, and as long as it's green, they just keep bringing you meat, and then you flip it to red, and they stop.
I want to go to there.
Oh, we can go, man. I'll when we're done, I can tell you a really good one. That's actually not that far.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
Done.
Cool.
Okay, well, enough with food. Let's get into, enough with the personal stuff.
Yeah. They've had enough of this.
That's the whole episode.
Enough with talking about us on this episode. We're going to talk about us. Now we're going to talk about something else.
Well, something that's so important is your testimony. And that might even end up being the name of this episode. We talked about why do Christians have testimonies.
Right.
And I mean, really, the way that you get to share Christ with people, one of the best ways to do it is not just, shouting scripture into the void out for people to hear, but it's sharing what God has done in your life.
Yeah, your most effective evangelistic tool is your story.
Yeah,
for sure.
And what do you think? Who should go first?
I'm good with either. Sure. But I'm looking at you, so I feel like you should go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yours is probably, you became a pastor, so yours has to be more interesting.
Oh, I don't. Well, tell me yours.
Okay. So,
and then if I feel like it, I'll say mine was more interesting. No, I'm just kidding. I would never say that, but go ahead.
No. So, I grew up in a family. My mom went to church. She had my brother and I go to church, and I will keep the denomination private because I stopped going to that church eventually. But it just never stuck with me. It was just something you did. You go to church on Sunday and that's it. And when I was in high school, I got invited to a ministry called Young Life.
Okay.
And it was down the road from my house, and I lived in the middle of nowhere. Like there was a cornfield across the street. I lived in 25 acres of woods.
Oh, wow.
The fact that something was down the street, literally a quarter mile down the road from my house, like, whoa, yeah, I'll be there.
Huh.
And so I walked down the street and went to this thing. I didn't even know what it was, but a bunch of my friends were going, and we played games, we sang songs, and at the end, this guy gets up and starts talking about Jesus. And I just knew I wanted these to be my people. I knew I wanted to be a part of this, and I went faithfully until I was grounded. It was like the greatest thing in my life, and I still got, you get grounded, you can't go out.
So were you grounded from going to that?
No, sorry.
Okay.
I gave that detail out of time. context. I don't know.
Okay.
No, I
So
went.
you weren't experiencing religious persecution. You were,
No.
Okay.
No, I was. I meant to say I went faithfully, unless I was grounded.
got it. Okay.
It's not that I got grounded all the time. But yeah, this just the way that the gospel was presented to me, I gotta have that. I want that. And the Young Life leader went to this church on Kent Island in Maryland, and ended up being Island Alliance Church. And the pastor of that church ends up being my father-in-law.
Hey.
So I kind of separately from church fell in love with his daughter. It wasn't because she was there, but like
Just the way it worked out.
it's just the way it worked out. Yeah. And this is the part of the testimony where it's like I can give more details, but
Well, let me ask you. So you guys fall in love, you get married.
yeah.
Okay. How did you end up, because we're recording in Delaware, how did you end up in Delaware?
Yeah. So before I got married, I went to college, Salisbury University, was very involved in student ministry there, and played drums at church. And while I lived in Salisbury, my parents moved to Idaho.
Oh.
And basically, when I graduated, there wasn't really a home to go back to. Like I could find a place to live back home, but there wasn't a home. But the guy, this guy Matt, who led Young Life in Maryland, had actually moved to Delaware. And Matt was working at a church, and he set up a place for me to live here. That I could. There was a church, Eagles Nest Church in Milton, Delaware, and they needed a sound guy. And the church happened to have this house with a bunch of other dudes, these interns. And Matt said, "Hey, if you could run sound at church, like I can get you a room to sleep in."
That's awesome.
So it was like, "Oh, you mean a job in my field immediately upon graduation?" I'm in.
Okay. Yeah.
And and I ended up working full time at the church for 3 years. God called me to the radio station where I work now.
Okay.
And yeah.
Well, all right. So really quick, you say God called you to the radio station that you're working with now.
Yeah.
That's a leap. So how did you get into doing that?
So I was going through a really, really hard time. And it was just one of those seasons of your life where you just want to quit everything, just pack up and move, just get me out of here. And I had done a summer internship at Elevation Church in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they were hiring an audio guy. At
Elevation?
At Elevation, okay. I applied for it. I had 2 interviews. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to move out of Delaware, and I'm going to go do this job that I think will be just better for me and for my family.
And you and Brittany are married at this point. She's on board with that as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we had experienced a loss that I won't go into, but
sure.
it was
sure.
But it was just one of those sick times in your life where you just want to pack up and I need to change everything. I need to get out. And I get a random phone call. I'm in the midst of this. I'm trying to move to North Carolina, and a guy says, "Hey, the Bridge, this radio station, they offered me a job and I can't take it. Would you mind if I put your name in the hat?"
Huh.
And I was like, sure, whatever. Like, I didn't say sure, whatever, but I was dead set on moving to North Carolina.
Okay.
But I'll never turn down an opportunity, I guess. I forgot that I had a job interview the day that I came in and interviewed. I don't even think here.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I was going to do this on my lunch break. I didn't shower. I was wearing jeans and a hat, and our finance lady always brings up that I was wearing a hat when I came in for my interview. It was like the least professional thing. In the job interview, I tried to give the job to a friend of mine.
Really?
I was like, you know what? You know who else you should interview? This guy.
Huh.
And it was just like, God just handed this to me on a silver platter. And really what he said when God called me, it was, Mark, do not leave this state.
Wow.
This is
you had a very clear word from the Lord stay here in Delaware.
You need to be right here.
Wow.
And honestly, like I've been here 5.5 years, and those 5.5 years have been almost like my life is kind of shielded. Like, as long as you stand in this spot, everything's going to be fine.
Okay.
If you try and change anything, you're walking out of, the eye of the storm is like where it's, you can go wherever you want with storm analogies, but like the eye of the storm is where it's calm.
Okay.
But if you step out of the eye of the storm, now you're in the wind again. Yeah. That's kind of like God's just like, hey, I need you right here. Don't move. You'll be safe if you stay right here.
Wow. Okay.
And that's, yeah.
So you've been here 5.5 years, and now new life has entered the equation. Like, so you and Brittany married how long at this point?
7 years.
Okay, 7 years. And along the way, you've had kids?
Yep, 2 kids.
Okay. And how old are they at this point?
4 and almost 2.
Okay, man. So it's just been, I was about to say a whirlwind, but with this short illustration, I feel like I shouldn't. Okay. Hey, can I ask you, like, what do you, as you're doing this, as you're serving our community so faithfully, and not just our community, Delmarva and everywhere the Bridge is broadcast, what are some highlights you like what do you enjoy about doing this ministry that you do, that you're just like, man, I'm going to get out of bed this morning and I can't wait to do this?
Yeah. I've just got a drive in me that whatever I'm doing has to matter. Mm. It's really hard for me to do things that don't matter at all.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of those people who's always working on a project, and how can this project, go to these people, whether it's like composing music or like writing personal songs or, doing the radio show. And it just drives me crazy if something's pointless or without direction. Huh. And when I found, when I made that decision that, okay, I'm going to follow Christ with the rest of my life, mm-hmm. I'm going to, people say the phrase, make him known, make him famous. Like, right. I need people to know where true life is.
Ooh.
It's kind of like every fiber of my being, whatever I'm doing has to point to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I make podcasts like this one. I do the radio show every afternoon on weekdays and serve on the worship team at church. And it's just like, whatever I'm doing, it can't be pointless.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So it's just drilled into me.
Yeah.
And yeah. So,
well, Mark, thank you for letting us know, some of your story, man, like some significant moments of your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hold the mirror up now.
Oh, yeah.
You've got more years to explain. Oh, so we're going to be here a little while. No, I'm just
like that. All right. Yeah. Wait, how old are you?
I am 32.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. All right. I'm 41, soon to be 42. So yeah, I guess so. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are the pastor of a church.
Truth.
14 years?
Yeah, it'll be 15 in May.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack that.
Okay.
So if you're 42, mm-hmm. 15 in May, then that means you were 27 when you started a church.
That sounds right to me.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't advise it. Yeah.
But that had to, that story has a beginning. And,
sure.
Like that's phenomenal. Yeah. So yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah. So, I guess my God, story, how all that came about. So I was born, if you can believe this or not, I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. We lived there until I was 7, then moved to Delaware when I was a kid. Grew up in church. My dad's a retired pastor. My parents, loved God my entire life. But the truth is just my heart was hard. I was that kid that like, I knew all the stuff, but it never really just sank in. And I would say it just wasn't God's time yet. So, my parents, they would read me the Bible every night before bed. We were going to church every single Sunday. They were, before Dad was even in ministry, we were going to church every Sunday, being hyper involved. And then after he became a pastor, that was certainly true as well. But it didn't really matter to me. I hated church. It was one of these things where I kind of believed, what it felt like? It felt like, I would read, or I would be read the Bible. I never read the Bible for myself. But we read these Bible stories, and I would hear these sort of like best of God stories, right? Where it's like, man, here's these things that God used to do, and I'd be like, man, that's amazing. And the religion to me, I'm not saying that anybody did anything wrong. It's just this is where I was. The religion to me felt like, I don't know if you ever had a friend say to you like, oh man, we had an amazing party last night, and you're like, oh cool, and they're like, yeah, you should have been there. And that's how Christianity felt to me. Where it's like, you should have been there. Like, oh yeah, like back in the day, God did this stuff. And I'm like, well, what's he doing now? Well, now he nobody would say it to me like this, but that's just kind of how I picked it up. Like, now he left. Now he's in heaven, and you'll meet him when you die. And that was my belief. My belief was that there was a Bible verse somewhere that said, and then God left. Because I mean, how do you reconcile Jesus walking on water with no experience with God whatsoever? Right. And so I go through life, and, I develop a plan in my mind. I mean, like when I say I hated church, like, look, I can remember consciously having a plan. When I turn 18, I thought to myself, when I turn 18, I'm an adult. My parents can't make me do what I want. Never again will I go to church. Right. Like that's, maybe I'll go on Christmas or Easter, just to be polite. But like, it's a weird thing to be thinking about that when you're a child, like actively looking forward to not going to church. But that's just where I was, And, what ended up happening was when I was 15, I was going into high school. And you remember how like when you're a freshman in high school, you remember how like the people that you want to be impressed by you are seniors. Remember that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like by sheer just a few years older, they're instantly cooler.
Yep.
And so there's
they still are.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And so there's a senior who invited me to a youth service at his church, and I was on a Friday night, and it was small Sussex County. It was Old Eagle's Nest. It was back when they were on Route 16 there. They had a hardware store that had become their building. And he said, hey, we're doing this youth service, and would you come out? And I was like, absolutely not. Like, why would you go to church if your parents don't make you? And he's like, well, like we're going to be having this, we're going to be having that. And he just kept bugging me about going. And so finally I'm not saying this is not prescriptive. I'm just telling you what he did for me. He tricked me. Okay. And what he did was he knew like I liked tech. He knew that I liked video production and stuff. He said, hey, well, listen, we're gonna have cameras there. We need somebody to run the cameras. Would you come and run the cameras? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I could do that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah. So I go, and when I go in, it was very, very different from any church environment I had ever been in. Again, that's not a shot on anybody. If the Lord ministers to you in a specific place, praise God for that. It's just, again, this is where I was. And theirs was different. It was, very, very humble. I was used to pews and stained glass and robes and these very, very beautiful, elegant expressions of worship. And this place was, they had like a gray carpet stage, like a wooden cross kind of thrown against the back of it. And I was like, this is weird, And then a guy came in to lead worship. He sat down. They didn't have an organ, which is what I thought was like, that's how church is done. Again, if you're ministered through organ, that's great. But this guy came in and he sat down at a keyboard, and his name was Rick Betts, who's now the pastor of Crossroads Church in Georgetown. And Rick says, like we're gonna have worship now, and if you know Rick, the man has a gift, right? And so. Rick began just to sort of like pound the keys of this keyboard to the point where he's almost punching them. Like if keyboards could bleed, this keyboard would bleed. It's just like and he's like singing his guts out to God. And when he did, something surprised me, and that was that God showed up, where suddenly like we were in the presence of God. And I didn't know that God did that. Like again, I thought you meet God when you die. But there was no denying it. I remember, I wasn't looking for Jesus. But as it turns out, like he had a plan for me. I used to think like when I talk about like being in the presence of God, in the years since then, I've had the privilege of getting to know Rick or getting to know, Pastor Bill Sammons, Sr., who was the pastor of Eagles Nest. And I always used to think that like that encounter came almost as though like, you walk into a room and there's a thermostat set and the thermostat will be in the room regardless of whether or not you're there. You know what I'm saying? Like you walk into something that's bigger than you, but getting to know them and seeing how humble they are, and they would probably be the first guys to say like, "Hey, it's not me, it's Jesus."
Yeah.
To realize like, no, that happened because the Lord was seeking me out. Like it would be easy for me to think like I'm kind of worming my way into something, but to realize like the Lord intentionally wanted to save me. And that's exactly what he did. So I remember, like when I say, like the Lord showed up, I know it's a very, very dramatic term, and people are like, what do you mean? Like, did like angels tear off the roof and start screaming? No, like there's no lightning. It was just instantly like I was aware that I was in the presence of God. And by the way, let me just say this too, because I know I tell this story and people are like, well, I didn't have that experience. Does that mean that my conversion isn't authentic? No, not saying that at all. It's just this is how the Lord saw fit to save me. And so I'm aware like there's just, the best way to describe it, there's electricity or there's power in the room. It's going around me. It's going through me. At the same time, I'm feeling this warmth and love, like actual, like love as being a thing that exists. And I remember being confronted, and it was like a spotlight just shined on my heart. And for the first time in my life, I saw who I actually was. You know, up until that moment, like worldly speaking, I think it'd be easy to say that I was a pretty good kid, or at least I thought that I was. And so, you know, I had my list of all the things that I'd never done. Right, I haven't done this, so therefore I'm good. But I saw, like in a moment, like who I actually was and the things I had done. I was convicted about my sin, and I remember saying, like, Lord, I'm so sorry. And when I said that, it was like, again, this is feeling, but it changed my life. It was like he just picked up my sin and took it away. And so, you know, I remember Rick making an invitation, or the guy who led the night making an invitation. I don't remember who, honestly. It's been 20 plus years, but whoever it was, hey, you know, if you want to receive Jesus, come on down to the front. And man, I was there. I like to know that I could know him. It was a completely different version of Christianity than what I had understood it to be.
Yeah.
Like I had to be around that guy. Like if you're telling me I can know the God of the Bible, that's a very different faith from how I thought this went. Because now we're not talking about a philosophy, we're talking about a relationship. And so I began to spend time with Jesus. Like, you know, I'm going in my room every night, and I'm closing the door and I'm locking it. And I had been given a Bible in like 4th grade as a gift. It just sat on my shelf collecting dust. But now I've got to read this thing, man. And so I'm opening it up and I'm highlighting stuff, and it's like the words are just jumping off the page to me, and they're speaking to me, and like it's igniting my heart. And so I'm just getting to know Jesus more and more and more. So that would have been November of, I want to say 1996. Time goes on, and you know, one night I'm laying in my bed and I'm praying. I'm trying to listen, to learn how, like, you know, how to know when God is speaking, and you know, I feel like He is beginning to speak to me. And it kind of out of nowhere, I felt like the Lord just said to me, and I remembered it was like it was script in my mind is the best way to describe it. Like I could see the words, but they were so firm that it's like they were. This sounds dramatic. I don't mean it to be. It's just it's my experience. Yeah. It was like they were etched onto me. Is the best way to describe it. And it just said, "I want you to preach the gospel."
Wow.
Yeah. And dude, it's embarrassing. I didn't even know what that meant. So like, I went to my parents. I'm like, hey, what, you know, if somebody is supposed to like preach the gospel, what does that mean? And they're like, well, it might mean that you're a pastor or something. Like, oh, okay. And then I went to the guy who told me, he's like, oh, it probably means you're gonna be an evangelist or a pastor or something. Okay. And so I just, you know, what do you do with that? I was in 9th grade. So I started leading Bible studies.
Oh, cool.
Well, I didn't really know what I was talking about. So, yeah, I mean, listen, the Lord's patient. He used it, I think. But, you know, I started jumping in to do that because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And, you know, there were a lot of trial by fire things. And, you know, if I could do it over, I wouldn't. But
I've got some of those.
Okay, see, there you go. Yeah. But that also, like, I knew from then on, okay, this is what I was going to do. I was going to go into ministry. And so came time to graduate. Oh, by the way, I met my wife in high school. She got saved just before my senior year. We started dating probably, I think, October of that year.
Of her senior year?
Of my senior year. She's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah, so she would have been a sophomore. I was a senior.
So now you're the senior.
I know.
Now you're the cool senior.
Well, I don't think anyone ever put those words together with me, but I was a senior, yeah. So anyway, we start dating and go off to school. I studied the Bible for 4 years. I went to I didn't know if there was like a ministry school. I didn't know anything about anything, man. So what do pastors do? Well, they study the Bible. So I went and I learned what's called biblical scholarship. Went to a school that it's weird to say now. Like, I'm very thankful for my time there. I wouldn't recommend them because theologically they've so left where I am theologically. I just don't feel comfortable telling people to go there. But I went there for four years. And after that, Katie and I got married and we left. We went to we were in Missouri for 2 years. She finished up school there. I worked at a church out there for a couple of years and tried a year seminary there, but the school wasn't for me. So we ended up, when she was done with school, we transferred back and I went to school up in Boston. And at that point, time's going on there and we start,
What school in Boston?
It's called Gordon Conwell. I got my master's in divinity there, which is a pastor degree.
Okay.
So we're up there and, time's starting to wind down. We have to start thinking about what we're going to do after graduation, and at this point we're thinking like, well, we lived in the Midwest, we lived on the East Coast. Like, what if we went to California? Like, that'd be neat. Like live on the West Coast.
The dream.
Why not? And so, okay, cool. And this one year, I came back home to visit my parents for Christmas. And I happened to go to Friendly's one night with a friend for ice cream. Friendly's in Rehoboth. Yeah. And we're sitting down over ice cream, and he was like, "Man, you should come back to this area and plant a church." And I was like, I don't remember. I think I had kicked that idea around in my head in my younger, more arrogant days, but I kind of resolved, like, you don't do that if God hasn't told you to do that. Like, 'cause you could mess things up for people. I know it's a ton of work. I know it's emotionally trying. So barring some kind of clear leading from God, I'm just not interested in that. But the idea tickled my fancy enough that I just asked him like a follow-up question. I was like, well, just so that I'm clear, like, what do you think that church would be like? I just wanted him to know, And he was like, his whole thing was, he goes, it should be informal. Like, you should preach in a t-shirt and jeans. That was his big thing for it. And I was like, all right, well, nice conversation.
Sounds like a Friendly's conversation.
Yeah, right. And he just kind of left it. So we're going into the summer before my last year at Conwell, and they're offering a class on church planting. It's called a week-long intensive. So basically, they cram a semester into 1 week. So like, almost sun up to sundown, you're in this classroom and you're just furiously doing this. I thought, well, that's not a bad thing to have on the resume. Like, so if I ever get hired by a church, oh yeah, I've been trained in church planting or whatever. But by the way, semester crammed in 1 week means I don't remember any of it.
Right.
But okay. So I go to do this class, and first day of the class, the professor says something along the lines of, well, listen, we're talking about birthing movements of God right now. We're talking about churches being planted. He's like, so let's not do that without going into prayer first. So how about we just take a couple minutes and pray and seek the Lord before we teach anything. And that seems like a good idea. Sure. So we go to pray. I put my hands together. I go to lower my head. It's my public prayer posture or whatever. And before my head is completely down, I just feel like the Lord said so clearly to me, I want you to go back and plant a church in Delaware. And like it's a point like it rattled me. Like, did that just happen? And so like I went back.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? So you sit through the rest of day one of this class, taking notes but not really paying attention. That might be another reason I don't remember it. And I went back to our apartment, and Katie got off work. I said, I think God just told me to go back and plant a church in Delaware. Like, what do you think about that? And if you know my wife is very, very chill. So she's like, yeah, it sounds fine. But there was no like, yes, let's do it. There was like, no, well, yeah, okay, it's fine. So we started to get the ball rolling on that. That would have been 2008. So took about a year to get a team together on that. In 2009 is when we officially launched and been here ever since. So that's I guess our story in a nutshell. 2011 we had our first baby, Ben, and then 2014 had our second one, Luke, and here we are.
So 2009, this was your meeting in your house?
Yeah. We started with our first quote unquote service. There were 4 of us there. So it's Katie, awesome. Me, one other couple. Yeah.
And then you at some point moved to, was it the Hampton Inn?
Oh yeah. So yeah, we we met in our house for about a year, or no, 2 years maybe. And
wait, okay. I got to interrupt you.
Yeah.
You met in your house for 2 years.
Yeah.
Was that a cool 2 years, or was that, wow, am I even doing anything? Shouldn't there be more people here? Like, I feel like if I spent 2 years doing something like planting a church and still being in my living room, I would feel like a failure.
Yeah. I wish I was more spiritual than that, but yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Like I have friends who have planted churches that sort of exploded day one, and praise God for that. Like the way the Lord has used them and is using them is incredible. That was not my story. I think I felt like an absolute failure because it felt like I had constructed, I think, 2 false ideas. One, if the Lord's with me, it means it's going to be easy. And I knew that he had told us to do this. And number 2, if the Lord's with me, it means it's going to look like blank. And so I can remember sitting in my car one night, like, I think it might have been a Sunday night. I'm not entirely sure, but I remember like sitting outside in the parking lot behind our house, like, or our apartment, like just staring up, not wanting to go inside, and having a breakdown and basically just calling my dad and being like, I'm not even sure God loves me.
Wow.
Like I feel like if he loved me, like why would he let me feel so humiliated and stupid, and like why is he not honoring anything that I'm doing, and why is it not working? And you know, there are conversations to be had of, okay, how much of it is bad methodology that we were doing, how much of it is the Lord's forming something in our hearts and character, and there is no one answer to that. But I remember those moments, and I think, you know, I joked earlier, like, you know, like, how old were you when you planted 27? I wouldn't recommend it. I can say that if somebody were in my temperament when we planted, I wouldn't recommend it. And the reason is I was in this place in my life and heart where so much of my identity was being formed by worldly success. So my worth, let me say it like that. If I've got something to show for myself, I'm worth it. And if I'm not, I don't. That's not healthy. It's not biblical. It's not true. But I've been there. And so, yeah, for the first couple of years we were there, and we spun our wheels, and it just got to this place where, again, I'm not against house churches. Like, I'm not against it. If people feel like that's their calling, go for it. For us, we consistently had an experience where when people would say, hey, come to church at my friend's house, they thought they were going to murder them because it sounds cultish.
Logical.
Yeah. And so just no. And so we said, all right, listen, we've got to go somewhere public. So I reasoned out, you know, I was working some other jobs to stay afloat. Church was obviously not a place that could support me. And I reasoned out, man, okay, here's the Hampton Inn.
I gotta interrupt you again.
Yeah.
I just want to call out what it says about your character and your trust in the Lord, that he told you to start a church in Delaware. You did it for multiple years. And just the fact that you said, oh yeah, and doing this isn't going to financially support me.
Sure.
And that's just really cool.
Well, that's very kind of you to
and I like, part of the reason I wanted to do this episode was I wanted people to know your heart like I know your heart.
Oh, thanks, man.
And just the fact that you would put your whole life on hold to start a church. I just think that's just a beautiful thing about you.
Well, brother, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, look, but that's it though, right? Like, if you hear from him, like, what better are you going to do with yourself?
Right.
Like that's my whole thing in life. You know, are there moments where I want to quit, or to, you know, where is he, or whatever? Sure, I think everybody has those, but like I've just, you know, the same reason, like, okay, like I say, I felt like the Lord called me into ministry. I've never been in ministry because I thought I would be good at it. I've never been like, you know what, I'm the guy that people should hear talk. That's ridiculous. I'm in it because I feel like the Lord told me to do it, and I just assume that he knows better than I do. So like, yeah, like I don't know what else I would do with myself unless he told me to do something else or gave me no other option. I mean, that's just what you do, right? So
I'm drawing the parallel between the story that I told about how there's nothing more important to share than this.
See?
And
yeah,
that's just cool.
It was true though. Yeah. So like I reasoned out, I think the rent there was $81 a week, something like that at the Hampton Inn. And so I mean, I can pay that out of my pocket. I can afford to do that. So if nobody gives, and At that time, I think our offering was like $15 a week, something like that. So I'll cover the difference there. And so we went and we launched. I don't remember. It would have been, I think, 2010. No, it would have been 2011 because Katie was pregnant with Ben. Our first Sunday there, she was playing bass and he was in her belly while she
just rumbling.
Yeah, it's probably why he likes guitar so much. So yeah, that would have been 2011, and we were there for a couple years. Outgrew it, and then went to another location that I don't want to say because I don't want to bash, but basically it was a bad decision. I looked at it based on how much will this cost, not what's the most effective ministry.
Oh wow!
And it ended up our church dropped in size by about half and stayed that way for about 2 years. And then we've got to move somewhere else. Like we want to reach our community. We can't reasonably reach who we're trying to reach by being in this location. It's just not. It's not okay to ask that of them. So we made the switch to our building that we were in for 8 years, Toddy's and Lewis, and saw the Lord do some cool stuff there. Outgrew that, and now we're portable again, at least at this moment of recording,
right?
So that we can hopefully be in a bigger space while saving to buy and build or do whatever the Lord has for us. And it might not be any of that. It might be that He has something else in mind, and that's okay.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So that's I guess that's me up in a nutshell up till this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that Toddy's building is where I kind of came into where our stories kind of came together.
We had met before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd come every once in a while and help wire stuff.
Yeah, because I remember meeting you at a wedding. I don't think it was the first time we met, but I remember like one of the first conversations I had with you was at a wedding, and we were talking about. I think you had just gotten back from Elevation.
Oh,
we were talking about what you had learned there, and I was like, "Oh, man, it's like God's setting you up for some neat stuff there." Yeah. Do you remember? I remember that.
You'd have to remind me more of it.
Okay,
but that sounds right. How old were you when you started at Toddy's?
However old I am now, minus 8 years. So it's 41. So what is that? 33? Sure. Let's go with that.
I just have this fascination, that, Jesus started his ministry at 33.
Oh,
and, I'm about to be 33.
So so if it's any consolation and I want to, this may be jarring. He started his ministry when he was about 30. He was probably killed when he was around 33.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
I don't know if that's better or worse for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I'm doing ministry now.
Yeah,
so
you are.
works,
and you're crushing it, man. Like, we're all thankful for you in the ministry that you do. Like, you're blessing Delmarva and certainly the podcast sphere that goes beyond that. So thank you. Thank you for doing what you do, Mark.
We've got these signs outside the door of the studio that say, "It is a privilege to stand behind this mic. Thank you, God, for choosing me."
Yeah.
And if you had any idea how often I sit behind a turned off microphone, just trying to rack my brain around, I need to say something to a couple hundred, maybe 10,000 people in 8 minutes. And I don't want to waste the opportunity.
No, but that's the perfect heart posture, right? I mean, like, humbly, Lord, I need you. Would you guide me? Would you speak? That's exactly right, I think.
And I mean, the same thing with this podcast.
Yeah.
We want to ask good questions, and we want it, we don't make episodes just to make content. I hate that word, by the way. Content creator. It's just like, no, like we're not making content. We're sharing the most important thing that's ever existed.
How about the faith?
Yeah. We're talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
And we're not recording this because we need another episode.
For sure.
we're recording this because there's a chance that my story or your story is going to impact someone else's story and draw them closer to the Lord.
That's it. Like, I think our goal from day one has been to bless the body. Like, here's some stuff that we think might be helpful in your faith walk with Jesus. 100%.
Yeah. And even we talked about the whole theme of the podcast. Why do Christians? We literally went on Google and typed that phrase in, and the first stack of answers that autofills were questions that didn't sound like they were coming from Christians.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, if we make this podcast, like the people who listen to The Bridge, who listen to the Christian radio station, they're going to get something out of it for sure. But maybe we're going to reach people who've never stepped foot in a church before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're asking these tough questions about the Christian faith. And so we want to welcome anyone who is finding this podcast, like come on this journey with us as we every day grow closer to God, to his son, Jesus, to the one who created it all, who died for you.
Amen. Now, hey, listen, if they had questions that we could help with, what do they do?
Yeah, so we've got an email, podcast@wearethebridge.org. Just send that, and maybe in the subject, write "Why do Christians?" just so the people who get the emails for the radio station know to send it to us. But you can ask questions. Maybe you've got a question about our story, suggestion for a future episode. We would love to hear from you and get connected. And if you want to check out The Bridge, the radio station, if you found us through the web, you can head to wearethebridge.org and you can listen to the live stream 24/7. I have the afternoon show. It's weekdays 3 to 7 Eastern time. All that information's on the website. And if you love hearing Burt preach or talk, I should say, if you love hearing Burt talk on the podcast and you're interested in his ministry and his church, Solid Ground Church in Lewis, Delaware, what's the website?
Oh, it's pretty simple. It's solidground.church.
.church. I love that. And so almost always there's a live stream going for Sunday services, but if you're in the Lewis area, I mean, church is something to do in person.
100%.
And so if you do end up going to Solid Ground, be sure to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah. So that's our story. That's us. Thanks for listening.